Welcome back to my video. We are going to make envelopes. So what I'm doing, I'm using up all my papers. That is the 12 by 12 that I've used in projects, and I've done everything I can, and I still got some left. We're going to make some envelopes. Very easy to do these envelopes. Just cut your paper down to 10 by 10, and you can use your envelope board. This is an envelope punch board from We Are Memories Keepers, and then we're going to go into the 10 by 10. I'll show you 10 by 10. And then we are going to use the scoring line 4 and 1/8, and that is up there, the scoring line, and we're going to do that, and we're going to make 10 envelopes. So that will get rid of about 10 12 by 12 papers for you. I've done my envelope already, and when you fold it, you still have that sharp point like that. I don't like that point, so I'll just cut it straight. For me it is, I like that effect. And then on your punch board, you also in the corner, you can round the corners, and I do like that. So let's do this one so I can show you. That rounds the corners really very nice. Let's make 10 of these envelopes. I've done all my envelopes, and let me bring it over, I can show you. That is what they are. They are very colorful, different colors. If you want to make one just with one pack of paper, you have to throw in a solid color. But that is my 10 envelopes. Very colorful. And what are we doing with this? Let me show you. I've got this We Are Memory Keepers called Craft. This is a 250 GSM. It is very steady, and I do like it. Not very fond of the color, but I like it, the heaviness of it. So I can use it for anything, cover it, and you won't even know that that was a craft color. Then we're going to cut it down. You need 2 pieces. Okay, we're going to cut it down 8 1/4 by 8 1/2. The 8 1/2 side we are going to score at 2 1/2. Just bring it down, let me show you. We're going to score it at 2 1/2. Now this paper is really very thick. 2 1/2, and I normally turn it and then score on the back side as well. It will help me. I'm showing you. There is a score line. Okay, so we are going to do the other piece. We need 2 of them, and I just want to score at the back. It just helps me to fold that, because this is going to be our spine. We can put our scoreboard away. We won't need that again. And that is just need a bone folder, and we're gonna fold on our score lines. I like to do that one. Just make sure it's even on both sides. I mean, I can still do it skew. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna butt them up, and we've got a book. And this is where we are going to put we're going to put our envelopes in on that side, but this is what I've got for the envelopes, and I just let a little bit of a border around so that the envelopes will fit in nicely, because when you put some stuff in, you need a little bit of space. Now we're going to put this together. You can glue it together, just your wet glue will be fine for this. You can see I glue mine up. Wet glue will be fine for this project, because we are going to sew. And then just butt it nicely up to your score line, and just make sure you've got it straight and don't go over your score line, all right? Otherwise you will not be able to use your book, to do the page. I always test it, and then that one will be fine because it's on this side. So let's just burnish that very nicely and make sure it's gonna grab. And let's see, there's seeping out there a little bit. Just clean it up, and we are starting for our book to put all the envelopes in. Let's do it this way. Now this stage you can decide what you want to do. I'm going to cover mine with fabric. I've got this piece, I'll just need to grab it. I've got this piece out of my stash, and it's beautiful, and I'm going to cover mine with this fabric. I don't worry about the creases, it will sort it out itself. Now you just need to make sure that you've got enough to fold in. Alright, you need to do the fold-ins and make sure that you've got a little bit enough of that fabric. I'm just going to cut mine. It's a little bit too wide on the sides here. I'm going to cut that down. I'm going to get my fabric glue, and then we're going to start gluing this together. I've got my fabric glue, and I'm going to start with my spine. Now you need to be very careful that you don't get a lot of glue. You just don't need a lot of glue, otherwise it will seep through the fabric and you will see it. It makes a dark spot. Now this glue is really, it's liquid, and it is easy to use this glue and to control it. Let me say that it is easy to control. I just don't press very hard on my bottle, so I just let a little bit comes out at a time, and just make sure you've got the edge there. I'm very skeptical about the edges. I don't want any lifting. That is why with my paper craft as well, I prefer that the edges are good glue on it. I'm going to go a little bit over on my spine, so you can put some glue on your spine here. That is the only time you can do that. Alright, so I think I'm good to go. And I'm going to bring this over and press it down. Now this is a process that's going to take a little bit longer than with your paper. When you put paper onto your projects, fabric takes a little bit longer to dry. Okay, I'm very happy with that. I'm just going to turn it this way, and now let's gonna do this page, and we're gonna just in circle motions, or whatever you want to do, you can do that. Let me finish this one up and I can show you. I'm all glued up and I'm just gonna take it down. So what I do is I just stretch it a little bit, so for the creases, not really very worried about it, and that's it. You see there's no creases, nothing whatsoever. Okay, we can do the other side now as well. I'm just gonna turn it this way. And we're gonna glue it up, and I'll show you when I'm done. All glued up, and let's bring this over. Just let's make sure it is all grabbed. Yes, and you can use your brayer if you want to, and we can bend it. And let's bend that side and see. Yes, there's no that's why it's so important to do your where your score line is. There's no bubbling. It is taking, the fabric is taking to the score lines. Like I said, this is the only time you can do that. Okay, I think I've got a little bit too much on that side, and I'm just gonna trim it down. Now let's do this side. Well, I always do my side first and then I'll bring this in, because I can do a nice corner. That is with our paper. With the fabric, I like to bring in my corners first, and when you do that, when you bring this over, you see what I mean? There is a lot of bulk, and when you bring your corners together, don't let this overlap on that. It just needs to meet. Those two just needs to meet, and that's it, because then the bulk of the fabric is not that much. Now let's do our corners, and we're gonna glue it down. Fabric glue, this is what I use. It works perfect. It bonds immediately, and I don't have really a problem. Just need to see up to where do I gonna go. Up to there. And if you use a little bit and then closed it immediately, because it seeps out here at the bottom, at the top where you use it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit pressure on there. And that's the corners we are doing first. I just want to measure just an eyeball up to where I need to put some glue. Let's open it again. Yes, and your fingers will be full of glue, but that's fine. We're crafting. And just turn it in. Don't stretch it. Just turn your fabric in. Right, let me do all my corners and I can show you. So I've got my glue on my fabric, and let's bring it over. So this stage here, I will pull it nice and tight and bring it down. Now let's just do the burnishing. I'm just gonna put some glue underneath there. So because you're going to put paper over here, so you need to want that to be flat, lying flat. Okay, we can bend. Yes, that looks good. So we're going to go into that side and this. I like to glue my fabric, put the glue on the fabric, and just closer to the edge where the paper and the fabric meets, and so that you've got your edge not bonding. So there's some glue there, and it can take on the edge there, that it can go line down as well. Okay, so and then we bring it over, stretched it a little bit, and that is looking good. Now you're probably going to ask me, Rina, where did you get that fabric? This fabric is about 20 years old. Yes. And I had so many product ideas to use this fabric, and it never happened. And now it's happening. I got it out of the cupboard and I said, no, I'm going to use it. Definitely now it's gonna use. You know, when you don't want to, it's like I get beautiful paper and I don't want to cut in and no, you need to do that. So this is one of those feelings. I need to do it. I just want to trim this straight. It probably doesn't matter, but I like it straight. Now let's do this side, and I will show you what I mean putting your corners together and not let it go over. Because I'm going to try and still sew, and that is when we need the corners here to be together and not overlapping. Let me do that one. Pull it over. I'm going to use my bone folder to press it down and over. That's it. It's probably a little bit too far. I would have loved to have it nice together, but that is what is happening. That will still look good when you put your paper on. I would rather have that than it's overlapping, and then I have to take some of the glue away, and yeah, then it's becoming a bit messy. All right. And let's press this down. And I'm just going to put a little bit underneath so that can go and stay down. And let's check. Yes, yes. I'm going to let this dry. I'm happy with it. I hope you are happy with yours as well. Yours will be as beautiful as what this one will be. And you can see it is really, the fabric does it. It's really very, very, very nice. Easy. Okay, we're going to go on to our next step. So I'm just going to wait for this to dry. And the next step, it will be, I'm going to do a stitch all around. So what I use is, I use my sewing machine foot. I think it's 1/4 of an inch. I'm not 100% sure. And with that, I am gonna do my stitching. You can do a zigzag stitch, you can do a straight stitch, you can do any decorative stitch, what you like. You don't have to stitch if you don't want to. I would like to do, because it's a little bit more interest, I will see what this looks like and if I might do 2 rows of stitching on this side. Also depends on if my machine will take, because it will take this, because this is a heavy cardstock. Now let's get this dry. Don't stitch when your glue is wet. The glue will grab onto your needle and then it's a mess. I promise you, I've been there, I've done it, and you will curse yourself. Don't do it. This needs to be dry, probably for an hour. And when you feel it and you don't feel wetness, or you don't feel that stickiness or whatever, you can stitch it then. If you don't want to stitch it, you can go and look for any paper that you can cover this whole area, up to about, I would say, 1/4 of an inch away, or if you want 1/8 of an inch away from your edge, you can do that as well. And then put your paper on. Remember to do your scoring on both sides, so you can do, when you can do and fold your book. So I'm gonna wait for mine to get dry. While we're waiting for our cover to dry, so let's do our next step, and this is for the spine. Just grab any piece of scrap paper you've got. I've just got copy paper here, and let's cut this. So this is going to be our template for our sewing, to put our envelopes in our book. So you need to cut this 2.5 centimeters in the width by 8.25 in the length. Then you need to measure from the bottom 2 centimeters and draw your line. From the bottom again, you're going to measure 10.5 centimeters and you're going to draw a line. Just turn your paper, and then you can measure 2 centimeters and draw a line right across. When you're done with that, then you're going to do your length lines, and you're going to measure from the edge there, and that will be 0.5 centimeters, and make a mark on that side and draw your line. So you need 12 of them. that is a half a centimeters. It's 0.5 millimeters. Okay, then where your line meet, your line that's across and your line that's in the length, where you meet, you make a dot. On every line you make a dot. That is where we're going to poke our holes. I hope this is easy for you. This is your first template. Then we are going to have another template, and this is just, I've just cut it. There's no really measurements. This is 4 inches. The width doesn't really matter. That's 4 inches, and this is 7.5. All that I've done is I've folded in half and fold that in half again. So I've got my half there, and from the edge there, I think it's an inch, no, it's a half an inch, and just do a fold line. When you open that, just make a dot where that is meeting your lines again. So these lines and these lines, they should match up. That's all. They have to match up, these lines. Then this is what we are going to put in our envelope. We're going to use that for a guide in the envelopes, and that is when we're going to poke our holes, and that's correspond with that, so we can do the sewing. Put this aside with your envelopes. Let's see how our cover looks like. I've done my stitching. I hope you can see it. To the corners and then carry on. So I'm done with that. My book is nice and dry, and it is going to be easy to work with. Now I don't know what kind of paper I'm going to put up here. Let me go and grab it and see what paper I need to do that. So I've got both my glues here, my fabric glue and my tacky glue. So I've put that one down already. Now I'm just going to put glue where my fabric is. Where the paper is, I'm going to use my paper glue. I am doing it on my paper. I just need to see. Right, it's just eyeballing. To the edge as well, because you don't want the edge to be lifting with this. You definitely want it to be down all the time. This is, I'm just doing it on the edge. When it seeps out, it's fine, I can clean it up. And let's do our paper glue. It's a big area that we need to glue up. And now I can put this down. I like to do it in my hand when I do the edges. It just feels like I've got better control. And just put enough glue, really enough. It's even everywhere, and it is matching up with the one I've put down already. And let's press it. You can use your brayer for this step as well. Can seep out here, and I can just pick it up That is all good. That is down. Now I'm going to let this dry for about 10 minutes, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put heavy stuff on it just for about 10 minutes, and then I will come back. It is down, but I just don't want to take any chances, so that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back in 10 minutes. After I've done putting heavy stuff on my pages, it's all down, there's no gapping in between. I've also get my fold lines folded and the front one as well, so that is our book ready to work with. Now we're going to put in our template and we will punch our holes. I'm just gonna do it with these paper clips and just make sure that it is in the middle, that you know that you don't go over your score lines. It's easy to do it because you can't really see that. And we're just gonna clip this one so it's nice and steady. I think I'm fine. I just need, that's it. Yeah. And make sure that you are really got it straight. Now I've just got a poking tool. You can use your poking tool, or you can use, I've got an awl, and I'm gonna start punching my holes. I just need to get something soft, otherwise it's gonna go into my hands. And I am gonna do my first hole, and you will probably not see it on the fabric side, but that's fine. And I am going to finish all mine and then I will show you. So I am finished with my holes, and I think this is safe to take this away. There you can see the holes, and I can see some of my holes on the fabric side. Okay, so now we are ready to sew in our envelopes. So this is what's going to happen with this template that we've got here. Just make sure it is in the length. I think I'm a little bit out. I'm just going to cut that off. And we're going to just do the holes for our sewing. It's really easy. Now what I've got for my sewing, it is crochet cotton, and you do get the different colors. I just got white. I'm not really worried about it. And I do have a very long needle. This is a doll needle, and we're gonna start off by our first hole. So we are doing in the middle first. Go through, and I've got a double. You probably don't need to have a double. Just leave a little tail, and then we're going to go to the next section. Just like to turn it around. And we're going to go into that hole, and in the hole what we made with our mark, if I can get it. And pull it tight. Just hold onto your tails. And then we're going to go back to the middle. So back to the middle, pull it through, hold on to your tail. Don't pull very tight, but at least you have to see that it is even there. And we're going to go back to the bottom one. We're going to put our I can find my hole. So we got in there, and that is what it's going to look like on the back. And you've got a tail, and I just need to cut through. I just hope I've got enough. Yes, I just got enough. Now you can tie a double knot. That's what I'm going to do. And then you can cut off a little bit of excess of your, or you can leave it. I'm just going to cut a little bit off, or you can make a bow. And that is our first envelope is in. Now we're going to glue this up. So fabric glue, we need the paper glue. Now all you need to do is a little bit on the edge there, and a little bit. You can use a glue stick for this if you want to as well. And I'm just going to put a piece of paper just to make sure that that side and this side is done. Okay, our first envelope is in, and let's go on to the next one. I've sewn 3 in already of my envelopes. Now what I've done is, this is my front and my opening is in the front. You can turn it that you've got this in the front if you want to. It's up to you. And there's the 3. So I decided let's do a page pocket, 12 by 12 page, and you just fold it so you get your half, measure it with your envelope, and then fold that again, and we can sew this in. So what I've done is, I didn't want to cut that off, so I just fold it, glue it down, and now I'm going to glue the sides, and then we can sew this one in. And I think we're going to make one more, and that's just to have a little bit more interest into our pockets and the envelopes. And let's just fold that over, press down, and I seep out a little bit. Let's clean it up. And this side as well. There's a little bit. This glue is very good. It's just it cleans up very nicely. And let's see that one. Yeah, it's all good. And let me show you how I do my crochet cotton. I measure 1, 2, 3. I take 4 lengths. 1, 2, 3, 4 lengths of what my page is, and I do double it. You don't have to, but I think it's secure. And let's get them together. And I'm just going to turn my book, and I'm even with, yes, I'm even. So you can use your guide for your holes. That's my first one. And let's get the guide. It's so much easier. And right in the middle, and let's do in the middle of our page, have a tail, and then we're going to go up to this one. It's very hard with the brown to see oops, sorry, to see where the holes are. Just hold on to my tail. Now what I do, I've got a glue dot here. I'm just going to put a glue dot there. That's my extra hand. And I'm just going to put just one strand of the cotton. It's just so I can do my knot. And now I'm going to take the glue dot away. Put it back. There's no more a lot of stickiness there. So for me, that is a good help. These tails are a little bit too long. I'm just going to cut it. And we've got our pocket page. How easy was that? And it is nice sturdy pockets. And let's carry on with our next like clip. Just clip them together, and let's do that one. I'm just going to round my corner. And then I'm going to sew this one in. I just want to clean that. That's it. And finish. Take that out. Now, that is all our envelopes. This is all our envelopes, and we've got some pockets as well. Now, these envelopes are big. You can get a lot in there, quite a lot. Then you can decide if you want to have a closure. If you put your goodies on to have a closure. That is, I still need to look for my corners that I'm going to put on. And that is how the binding looks. Neat, very nice and neat. And you can have another pocket, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So I decided to do 2 pockets on the back page, and they're quite nice and tight, so you can put a lot in. You can see there. Now this papers was offcuts, and this is the back of the pink paper. I just put it over there just to have a little bit of more interest in it. The front one I've done on the side, and it's nice and tight, and it is the offcut from this paper. When you do your offcuts for your envelopes, you've got a nice strip left, and that is what I've done there. So this is the final of this tutorial, and you can see these pockets and envelopes will come in very handy. You can make, if you want to make your spine wider to put more envelopes in, you can do that. Just remember that your space for your sewing, it is on 1/2 centimeter, and then you can make it as wide as you want or as narrow as if you want. You don't have to cover this with fabric. You can just leave it and put just normal paper over it. You can cover your working with paper if you don't want to see that. It's really very easy, and you can get quite a lot in here. I mean, it is nice. It's nice and big. You can make your envelopes bigger if you don't want to have any offcuts of your 12 by 12 paper, or if you want a little bit of offcut from your paper, you want bigger envelopes. That is not a problem. You can just extend your front and back to accommodate your bigger envelope. There's a nice space around it. Just remember, you need to have a nice decent space around your envelope. And yes, so this is the end of this tutorial. And yeah, this fabric is very nice. I've got it about 20 years ago. I did fell in love with it, and I'm so glad I've got quite a few. So I am gonna make another one with this, and I think I'm gonna use it for my ephemera. Definitely, it stands it stands up very easy, and if I have that on the shelf, it will look very good. I would like to thank you very much for sharing your time again with me. Please give me the thumbs up, like the video, and share it. And if you can do some comments, I'll appreciate that. Until the next one,